Hey, it's the Chief bonding with board games and RPGs coming to you with the Chief's vlog. So I wanted to come on and just let everybody know that my content will be down for probably a couple weeks. Not down like it's being removed or a strike or anything, but Mom, who's my co-host or co-op player in Tales from the Loop. So there sits the main game of Tales from the Loop from Free League Games, like an alternate 1980s kids on bike kind of show. She last Friday had a brain aneurysm. Ooh, crazy. I got a call while I was at work that she fell down. And when I got to the ER, it was clear that it wasn't just a fall, it was a brain aneurysm. Well, clear after they did a CAT scan. So let's see who is in. Boom, how's your mother doing? She is doing much better now. That's one reason I came on. I've been at the hospital basically 10 hours a day, sitting with her. I'm taking the night shift. So I sit with her at night. But last night, she woke up at 3 in the morning and she'd been kind of in and out of it a little bit, but was talked to me like 95% normal for 3 hours or for an hour at 3 in the morning. Told me about her favorite show, something called Happy's Place. It's got Reba McEntire in it, and told me about that it was on Thursdays. So, I mean, cognitively, it was awesome. And I wanted to just come on and cover that because, as Never Fear's on here, I had a live that I was going to do. What day is it? It's Thursday. Saturday. So I had to let Jay and Never Fear know, hey, can't do it Saturday. And then I'll either she'll be out of the hospital next Saturday, but then I'm scheduled to work. So we got an NCAA tournament coming into town. So if she's out of the hospital, I will be working that. So I'm letting you guys know, and I let Never Fear and Jay know that we probably won't be able to film a live. Another Nave, I don't have the book here, Nave 2E for probably 3 weeks is when we'll be back. So, but yeah, she hasn't started talking about Tales from the Loop yet, but she seems to be doing pretty good. Still has to do a little rehab because they've had her on bed rest for several days, and she's 81, almost 82. So when you're down that long, it's hard to get up and move around. And she's usually super mobile, which is huge. I will say, I want to film more of the Lunar Knots. If you haven't seen that, that is my idea of like elderly folks working and living on the moon, coming out of retirement to bring their engineering skills as an 80-plus-year-old, and then getting all kinds of medical updates and an exoskeleton. I'm looking at these exoskeletons, and they look awesome. I hope by 2050, when I'm 80, they have an exoskeleton that'll be thin, AI helped, and it'll keep me from falling down. I'm 6'6", 250. You do not want me falling down. I'll break more than a hip. Hello. So if they can come up with a good exoskeleton that'll keep me vertical, great. Heck, if I end up having an aneurysm, maybe it can walk you to the hospital. Say, hey, my human's having a problem. That'll all be in Lunar Knots, because I do think your exoskeleton will be kind of like having an AI on board, and it'll recognize he can't walk anymore. We're going to walk for him. See how my mind works? This is why I have to have this channel and this show, because when I had the thought about Lunar Knots, an old folks home on the moon, because there's 1/6 gravity and you can't break a hip, and the rocket travel's getting so cheap, I thought that could actually happen. There goes the AC turning off, or the heater turning off. So Mom's doing good. We had a great discussion last night. I'm very hopeful, of course, still very serious. I learned all kinds of stuff. So they have this cool process or cool technique called coiling. So the neurosurgeon was able to do a procedure kind of like a heart cath, where they went in the femoral. They go all the way up into the brain. This is on the front of her forehead, kind of. And they were able to put these platinum flexible coils into the aneurysm, which is like a bubble off of a hose. Imagine like a high pressure hose, but there's a little side weak area of that hose, and a balloon pops off of that hose. Well, that's an aneurysm. And when it pops, the doc actually told me when it pops, 1/3 of the people die immediately. Another third are paralyzed or damaged permanently, and then another third recover. It looks like mom's in the third. So, woo. So, but they put these little platinum, little tiny hair-like coils into the balloon, and it assists in clotting. And once it clots, it actually even kind of forms like a scab or scar tissue and makes that part of the artery even stronger. I was like, whoop. So that's enough for the medical channel. I was just watching. I want to get back to lunar knots. I'm fired up. I was watching some interviews or information about the Optimus robot. And I want one. And I guarantee they will be on the moon with my lunar knots. Some folks might even augment themselves. What? Cyborg. All right, so let's see what else is going on. I don't have photos. I should download. Let me see. So Markus is working on, well, he does modeling. He is a massive, cool modeler. Where's my P-38? I think it's over there. Nope. Here's my P-38. I had it much closer. I love this thing. So some of you remember, oh boy, hold on. See, this is what'll kill me. I start talking about something I didn't plan. And then you're like, well, what game is that for? And then I have to go in here and look, and I didn't have it pulled up. And then I look foolish. So first of all, I do have Assault. The game Assault coming in. There's an expansion that I'll be doing an unboxing. That's a board game. But again, you're saying, sure, but you're talking about something else and you're on a live show. You would think you would be able to pull that up. And I'm going to do that live, which is always highly entertaining to watch someone scroll on their phone. There we go. Air Raid 3646. I couldn't remember. I wanted to say Air Assault because I was thinking of Assault. So you've seen my show or my review of Air Raid. It's a miniatures game out of Germany where they make the models out of metal. So this is a metal mini that Markus painted, also in Germany. He is a brilliant painter. You can see he's got like the antennae, which stretch back to the tail boom of this P-38. And he painted this one up, but their models are just exquisite. And what they're working on right now is a version that will include heavy bombers. There's a lot of technical problems because this is printed as one piece, but you can't do that with a bomber. It's just too big. So it's got to be put together. And there's shipping issues and everything else. But when I talked to him, I said, man, I'm a huge fan of the B-17. And if you could work that in, might it even work to help with solo play of this miniatures game? Because if the bomber, here's a bomber box, is it tight? Is it loose? The formation wise, what level is it? But if there's a bomber that I have to go attack and I have to shoot down a certain amount of bombers, and I can approach in different ways, this could be a great solitaire version of this miniatures game. Or you could have someone playing it and doing whatever they're doing. I don't know, the fixed area of the bomber just flying. But maybe it's not solo. Maybe your whole crew or your flight is playing co-op. And now you've got a bunch of, or maybe you've even got the P-38s, the little friends who are trying to protect the bomber formation, which is flying and shown by a single plane, a single B-17 that, of course, represents many as it's being attacked or whatever. And then you've got other players coming in with their Focke-Wulf 190s or their BF 109s, and as they're coming in and attacking the bomber stream, so you've got all kinds of options. The bombers could just be like programmed, hey, we're flying in this direction, but it could work solo. It can now be co-op instead of head-to-head, or because you're all just playing German fighters, maybe trying to shoot down, the bomber stream, or someone's playing the Americans or British if they got Spitfires defending whatever. And then someone's playing the Germans. So you can see it could be solo, it could be co-op, it could be opposed head-to-head. Awesome game. Now, Markus, see if I can pull it up. I did not send them over, but I bet you, again, as you watch highly entertaining TV, YouTube, Marcus sent me these photos, and he said, just take a look at this. And now it's not even pulling up. So, okay. Well, I can't even get it up now. Ooh, that sounds terrible. I can always get it up. So he sent me photos of this gorgeous B-17. Now, it was just resin. They're not at a metal one yet. And he said there were still some things they're working on. So imagine a beautiful B-17 that will be in the game and can be used, hopefully. He didn't give me the rules or where they're working at with that. He was just showing me his painting skills. And I would have loved to have shown him, but of course it wouldn't pull up when I was in. But I wanted to be in and out of here pretty quick. Mom is doing better. If you haven't watched my Tales from the Loop, it's role-playing, co-op style, using the Mythic emulator, which works great. And Mom and I each playing a kid in the 80s, having these kind of like, it's an alternate, kind of like Stranger Things, vibe. But we've been playing that. Hey, ref is in. Oh, sorry. Got to do it right. Howdy, ref is in. And then there was, whoop, hey, Tom. So, and then I've got my Corsair shirt. Boom. So Air Raid also does Pacific Theater and the European Theater. So they've got all kinds of stuff coming out on that. And just a fun little game. So Mama's doing much better. We're hopeful that she'll be out of the hospital, hopefully in like 10 days. She's in the, not the intensive care unit, but definitely the care unit. It's not like, so that allows us to stay. It's not just a 1 hour visit. We get to stay. So the family's doing rotations. My rotation, it's a sweet one, baby. 6 p.m. to 0400. Woo! And I talked to the staff because I'm like, you're waking her up every hour. And they're like, we have to check her eyes, cognitive level. I'm like, but I would need straight sleep for my brain to heal. And they were like, yeah, we're going to start working into that too. But they had to make sure like she wasn't going downhill. So what do we got here? Danielle. Hey, Bart, good to know about your mom. Air Raid co-op should be cool. Yeah, now that's me kind of filling it in. When I talked to them, they said, what do you think? What do you think? They were doing a medium bomber thing. And I said, God, if you could work in the heavies. Now, that's very biased. He goes, yeah, but how would the heavies work? And the minis are extremely difficult. And I'm like, I know. I'm just throwing you out my wish. And I said, one thing I think the heavies would give you is it works in an awesome solo mode. And he was like, now that's intriguing, because I'm thinking if I've got all these minis and I could play this beautiful solo mode where I'm just, to keep it simple, I'm the German player attacking these bomber streams, and I get a certain amount of points for when I take them down. That to me, now here's the deal. I'm saying that's a simple solo mode. And I'm sure he's like, yeah, that sounds simple. Well, it's a mode that was possible. And I think he ended up saying, well, that's a possible solo mode. And then he goes, any other ideas? I'm like, yeah, it could spin off into co-op, baby. Now we're not going against each other. We're working together, or opposed, little friends versus the Axis, and defend that bomber stream. And then he was like, now this is interesting. And then he went back to the technical details of making these minis, and but they were looking into it. And I knew that would be a long-term deal. Look how pretty that is, Markus. That was my one idea on that. Anytime, especially a miniatures game, if you can turn a miniatures game into an awesome solo mode where people could learn a lot of the game systems while simply attacking a bomber stream, and you got modifiers for altitude or position within the formation or whatever. I don't know. I just thought, geez, that would be unbelievably cool. So, but and I'm not saying they did not disagree. They seem to be working on it. My father-in-law has since passed, but he did drafting design work on the P-38 during World War II. Wow, love it. Well, he must be a genius, because this plane was so far ahead of its time that they didn't even quite know how to what to do with it. Now it ends up really shining over in the Pacific theater. The twin engines allowing it to survive over, even if you lose an engine, you can get back. Um, I think the problem too is a little bit of the cold air gave it some problems. I can't remember exactly what it was. And then it had a compression problem. So you had to be real careful if you went into a steep dive. The problem is the rudder, which was rudder, is that right? I forget. Maybe it's something, but this big old tail thing back here would get pressed in and you couldn't pull it out until the air got thicker. So a lot of guys ended up getting into a stalled dive spin and it took them straight into the ground. And so they had to really watch that. But I have loved this plane. I'm going to show you how much. Now, this is terrible skills, but when I was 16, I made this one. See? I made this. Let me get this off of here so you can see it. And this was the model and all painted up, not the best paint job. And I've gone to toss out models over the years because they would break or something. I think I've got a broken propeller on one of these. And I could just never throw this one away. So huge, look at that. I lost one of my landing and I didn't even have the landing gear in there. Why put it together if it's going to be up in the air? So love this plane. The idea that the nose, you didn't have to worry, get that off screen. You didn't have to worry about your deflection of your shot and where your pinch came in because it was all in the nose. So you had 450s and a 20 millimeter cannon all just putting that fire, kind of like you're spraying a cone around. Wherever the nose goes, so goes your destruction. What do we got here? Solo to co-op is very doable. Formerly Dan the board game man, getting more art than board games lately, but always on the lookout for good tips. Nicely done. I mean the game is awesome. It was fun, easy to pick up. The cool thing is you've got your planes, but your card for your plane has really got all the rules on it. And that makes it easy. Let's say there's, P-38, there was a couple different models, but like the BF-109, you could have a model of a BF-109 on the table, and technically you could have cards for all the different, upgrades or different styles that you could then play with, and different gun types on it. So the cards actually make it really scalable because, the model doesn't have to change drastically. Matter of fact, you can have the same model and just say, well, this one's got this is the whatever version of the BF-109, and it's doable. And so you can model different years of the conflict with the cards, and it kept table space open and uncluttered. Very cool. Again, I'm not a big when they first reached out to me, when Air Raid reached out, I was like, your stuff looks awesome. I'm not a huge miniatures player, though. I really don't do it that often. Almost never. At a con, I'll kind of step in and play something. And they were like, hey, we love your show. We know you love this era. I'm like, I do. And I said, send it to me. I will learn it. I was like, this is because part of what they were looking for is accessible, quickly fun, and beautiful, beautiful miniatures. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. So and I said, I would play this. So that was one reason I got it. So mom's doing good. I think I'm going to call this. My sister has flown into town. She relieves me at 4 a.m. And then my stepdad comes in at like noon. He's 93. So he says, I will be here. And we were like, well, what can you sustain? And he's really good. He's sharp. So he's like, I can sustain noon to 6. We're like, deal. So, and if he needs to leave earlier or come later, then we're like, we will adjust. And I finally got a good 7 hours of sleep, which had not been happening. But that is about it. I took a little bit of leave from work. So let's see what else is on the agenda. What did I get? GMT just sent me. Oh, how am I going to forget? Is it Fields of Fire? I think it's Fields of Fire. They had an update kit. I'd had that game for years, and it was kind of hard to grok. And they reworked the rules. They set it up in a different way. Not rework the rules. They reworked the rule book so that it was easier to learn. And they had an upgrade kit, and I bought that. And so I'm going to unshrink that, do an unboxing, and then kind of learn it. Hopefully, we'll see. I've got to keep my role playing stuff going. I'll at least do an unboxing. And then Assault is sending me one of their expansions as well. I just got notification it's in the mail, so I'll do an unboxing of that. I've got some stuff planned already scheduled that I have to do. Everyday Heroes, TTRPG. I was going to film it like 4 days ago, but then Mom's thing happened. I'm going to make a character and show how that's done, so you can see character creation within the Everyday Heroes system. So that'll be coming. And as you already heard, I'm hooked on Lunar Knots, baby. I had some comments, and people are like, interesting concept. Please develop further. And that's how I want to do this show. If I have a role-playing idea, I may just float out a session 0, film it, and then if there's a lot of interest, boom, I'll make more. If there's 0 interest because I'm weird, then boom, there's a session 0. I did the Grok 3, the sexy voice, and I had Ara go into story mode, and she managed an RPG as the GM pretty good. I played Billy, the former mercenary in an apocalyptic environment, and it went better than I thought. And I'm going to do another one of that. I kind of like Billy. And I got good views on that, decent views. So I think I'll be the player again and let Grok 3 be the GM, and we'll see how that works. I actually think it's not quite there now, but I think that will develop. I bet you within a year, it's running the GM side better. Very interesting future tech there, in my opinion. So if you haven't seen that, go check out the Grok show. It's got the thumbnail with the sexy cyborg robot on the front. It was almost a little risque. And when you're in sexy mode, that is not safe for work. You have to be careful. Even on the show, I said, please do not use profanity. And even later in the end, when I was role playing, it used the S word. Hello. So one of my buddies watched it and said, man, it cursed near the end. I'm like, I know, but it was perfectly timed. And it was a brutal assassination thing I was doing while a bunch of mean marauders were sleeping near a road, and I snuck in and took care of business. Go watch that. All right, well, that's enough of that. We talked about Air Raid. We talked a little bit about Assault. Those are both games out of Germany, by the way. Talked about Mom. Mom's doing better. I have 2 more episodes that I haven't edited yet. I was going to get one of those up. We filmed it before she had the incident, and we were in the flea market. Yeah, we're in the flea market, and there's some stuff going on. So I got almost a little bit like, man, if at one point it was like she could pass, I thought, oh my God, am I even going to be able to put those shows up? I was already thinking, I had negative thoughts, those negative thoughts sneak in. And I'm like, well, it's still kind of a tribute to her, even if she passed. And I love seeing our interactions we play. And then I thought, okay, put this in the back burner. You can't be thinking, just deal with what's in front of you, not what could be, might be, shouldn't be. So, and that worked good. So hopefully, she told me all about Happy Times or Happy's Place with Reba McEntire. Comes on Thursdays. We might even watch it when I go in today. She was like, I think it'll be on Thursday. I'm like, well, it's Thursday morning. It's 3 a.m. She was like, well, maybe we'll watch it. We'll see if she can do that. But because she started to get exhausted and then said, can you please stop talking? I was like, yes. Your son talks too much, Mom. Your son talks too much. So, all right, let's see what else we have here. Any other comments or questions? Because I'm going to let you go. I think I'm going to go have something for lunch and then maybe even a cocktail. It's nice. My sister's in town. She loves cocktails. So I may have just one cocktail before I have to eat dinner and go to the hospital. Seeing no questions coming in. Sorry, I didn't have a bunch of photos. I should have preloaded those on. I could have showed you, but you've seen the P-38. Let's see, something came in. Ref, there we go. Ref's dad worked on the engineering of it. Love it. And More to come. More to come. Like I said, at the very least, I have at least 2 more tales that have already been filmed. Go check that out if you haven't. And the Sexy Grok 3. She's crazy. Sexy mode's nuts. I couldn't believe it was on there. All right, that's enough. See ya. Chief, Bonnie with board games and RPGs with the lovely Corsair shirt. Woo! I love it. My wife's almost embarrassed to go out in public with me. As I end the stream. And I wear this hat.